MMA Roadshow, episode number 386.
From the road.
From the road! The MMA Roadshow is actually on the road. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me in Salt Lake City, Utah. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done one of these on the road, right?
It's
Both of
usually
us
at my
on
house.
the road.
Yeah, let alone both of us, but just on the road. You've done it more on the road because I'll usually be back in Vegas or whatever, but like it's legit on the road.
But, bro, let's talk about on the road. Look at this guy heading to San Diego, making a quick stop in Vegas for the Contender
Vegas,
Series.
what?
No
Then
sleep,
straight back.
to the airport.
Well, 2 hours.
2 hours?
It didn't feel like I had sleep. It was literally like the most rushed, uncomfortable sleep. I set like alarms from 1:15, 1:25, 1:35, 1:45. On one, I have two phones, and then the other phone, I set it, and then I laid it on my chest.
Oh, yeah.
And then I left all the lights on. I didn't want to get too comfortable. I sleep with like a CPAP. I didn't even do that. I wanted to be uncomfortable so that I would wake my shit up because those little nights like that, it's not as easy as when we're younger. And it's just like,
can we clarify that I know you sleep with a CPAP because you've told me?
Well, no, you were there that one night. Remember the night? I was like, John, can we stop cuddling so I can put my CPAP on? Yes, it's because we've talked about CPAP because I told you that you should have one.
I know, I should get. I got one and I haven't used it, man.
I thought you started using it.
I got tested for it and it's just uncomfortable, man.
Well, you get used to it. It's good for your health.
But anyway.
Any of you out there, this is your medical talk. If you need a CPAP and you have a CPAP, you should wear your CPAP because you feel better.
Yeah,
and it lowers your blood pressure.
Oh, God.
And I think it stretches your dick out as well. That's what I keep telling myself. It's like inflation. It just the air goes in your nose and it just goes straight out and just swells this little motherfucker down here.
That's exactly how it works.
That's probably not.
Oh man, but yeah, listen, dude, you've been on a run, man. I flew in yesterday to Salt Lake just because. Yeah, that whole like rushing to get home from the Contender Series and no sleep and to the airport, and then you kind of had the nightmare scenario almost happen, right? Where it's
stuck
delayed
on the tarmac, and delayed.
And that always worries me too about flying in on media day because if your flight's delayed and you miss it, it's like that's a huge portion of fight week, you know?
Yeah, luckily I took like the very first flight that Southwest offered, so we had a little bit of time built in. But if that flight would have got canceled, and then you start looking at like everything's delayed, like everything's getting delayed everywhere for whatever reason.
So many problems.
Just coming back from San Diego, there was the bullshit of the guy that tried stealing a pair of glasses and then rushed through the security. Caused a big ruckus, made a loud noise.
To anybody that didn't see this was at McCarran Airport. So not in San Diego, but it was it's Harry Reid now, I apologize, in Vegas.
I still say McCarran. It's so funny. So he rushes through security, and they're chasing. Loud noises ensue. Everybody freaks out because they think it's a gunshot or they think whatever. So people start scattering everywhere. You had people that ran out onto the tarmac.
People that stormed through
security. Everybody was just rushing through. So they had to pull everybody out, rescreen them, but they also had to look at the planes. They had to check the tarmac outside, make sure everything was all good. All because of some dumbass. And so
the whole time you're sitting in San Diego, they basically closed down the airport.
They closed down a whole terminal. So like the terminal that we were supposed to go back to, we couldn't. So they're just like, well, let's wait. It took 2 hours just to get on the plane. And then we sat on the plane because they're like, well, we don't really have a gate that we can go back to. So then we sat there. So it was like, we're happy to be on the plane. We're like, yes, here we go. And they're like, well, we're still got to hold tight for a second, but at least we were on the plane or whatever. But it was just like, oh man, it was just a nightmare. But yeah, that being said, even today there was a little bit of a delay. This was mechanical, wasn't something else. But it's just like it's almost guaranteed now there's going to be some sort of delay. So you're right. Coming in on the day of a media day is risky, but luckily we built in enough time by coming so early that we had a little bit of time. So we still got to the host hotel at like 9 a.m. or something like that. So we still had 2 hours or whatever before.
So how you holding up right now, man?
I'm tired. I'm tired. I've already went through I've had so much coffee. I've had different emotions all day, and then I get grumpy and whatever. But I'm sure by the time this is done and this is edited and it's done, and I can get some food and I can actually sit, I'll feel better. And I'm sure I'm gonna crash. I'm gonna crash hard tonight.
Yeah, I bet, man. It's been a run for you. I should say, by the way, and that's what we get for promising that Hot T was going to be with us.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Bounced out on us. He had to go take a boxing class.
It's fight camp time, man. It's fight camp. Well, they keep switching the dates. Poor guy like Oscar. So Oscar wants to fight. The whole time it was the class is over at like October 8th or the 12th, that particular weekend. And then it got to the point where they're like, okay, hey, we're going to pair up with Tough Enough, So now a lot of the guys that are fighting are getting kind of nervous because they're like, oh shit, this is not just in the gym. This is going to be in front of the crowd. They lost the Tough Enough date. And so they were like, well, shoot, I think they want to keep it tied to it. So they started pushing it back to November. So now a lot of the guys that are like, oh, my God, I've been doing this for so long. I just want to almost fight and get it over with. They don't want to stretch it out. They don't know what's going to happen. Now there's a possibility the original date might come back or something along those lines. So Oscar right now is in total crunch time because it's legit in what would be, it started as a 20-week program. So they were kind of joking, saying this is over two fight camps that you're getting. But the amount of time from now to if it is in October, it's legit in the middle of a fight camp.
It's
like 8 weeks out. Right? Yeah, so like this is it. 6 weeks to 8 weeks is what most fighters would say that's like their fight camp.
Yep.
And what's unique about this particular program is that it's 2 fight camps in one. So you're starting to get hurt, you're getting tired, just trying to do it. But man, kudos to Hot T, man. He's fucking crushing it, man. When he's been on the road, he's been getting work in at different gyms and other things. So good on him. But yeah, he was supposed to be here, but he chose to go get some work in so that he could get work in later on, drinking with you later on.
We'll get him for that.
Yeah,
we'll get him for that. Good for him, man. It's funny, right? Because now he's getting to experience that psychological side of the fight, right?
Yes.
Which I've always said it's the
signed
weirdest,
the papers.
That's
it's coming.
It's the weirdest thing, and I've said it before. But it's the truth, and I think most people listen to this are kind of hardcores and realize it. But it's like, from the smallest flyweight on the roster to the biggest heavyweight, anybody on the UFC roster, if shit went down in a bar, could clean house. You know what I mean? Like they could take out everybody. No problem, no concerns, no worries whatsoever. But, man, once you put your signature on a contract and you know the exact date and the exact time and the exact location and the exact name, and you got to think about it when you wake up, when at night, what's that person doing right now? Boy, it messes with you. It messes
and
with
especially
you.
Now the fact that they're thinking about, oh, wow, there's going to be a location, there's going to be people watching. It's one thing just to, I would think, just get it up to fight against and in front of, like, other, MMA guys at Extreme, in the gym, or other people in the class with maybe just a small group of friends and families. It's a whole nother ballgame. And you start adding like there's going to be complete strangers that have no ties to you at all, no respect for you, no whatever. They're just like, I'm watching this guy get in here and fight. Is he going to get knocked the fuck out? Am I going to laugh at him? And all that psychology starts playing in as well. And I've seen the change in some of the fighters. I've seen some that are like, wow, this is going to be really cool. And I've seen others that are like, shit.
Right.
Like it's one thing.
I thought we were just going to do it in the gym. I thought we were just going to do it in the gym.
Like almost like a private, just amongst us.
Nobody will know.
Nobody will know.
We'll I'll know that I did it, but nobody will really see it.
Now they're like, wow, somebody could actually have video of me getting knocked the fuck out. That's completely unrelated. I could become a meme. I could be whatever. Hopefully that's in nobody's minds because, I mean, everybody that's done this, Oscar included, have done incredible work. Even just seeing the growth from when we started this class to now, everybody should be proud of what they've done.
Absolutely.
They got a lot of work still to go, as they want to continue this journey, because I think most people that are still there want to continue at least training, whether they ever fight another fight ever, but just the fact that you could see that they've found a path that they want to explore.
Kickoff to help them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's great. I mean, like nobody has really anything that they need that they should be embarrassed about if it happens, but this is a tough sport, and somebody more than likely is either going to get submitted or is just going to get, completely dominated and maybe tap out from exhaustion, or maybe he's going to get knocked the fuck out.
It's hard, man. I commentated a couple of these, when it was still called the Wimp to Warrior program, and they fought on Tough Enough, and Richard Hunter was one of them. And, I consider Richard a friend.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And he fought a guy that was, like 15 years his junior, and took the challenge, was willing to do it. You know what I mean? Knew what he was up against, knew, like, that's a tough assignment.
Yep.
And got knocked out, man, and it was, like, kind of hard to sit there and call it, you know what I mean? Because you're trying to do the right thing and just say it, but it was tough. It's been funny to hear him, which we had never really talked about it, just kind of one of those things like, all right, well, that happened, let's move on. But he told the story one time of, him. I don't remember if we were doing Junkie Radio or what we were doing when he actually told the story, but I'd never heard it, and it was really funny because he talked about the fact that, he got wobbly and knocked out, but like as he was there, he could hear my voice.
Of course he could.
Yeah. And he's like, and he said he came to and was like, "Am I in a UFC press conference right now?" Like as he's laying
awesome.
in the cage trying to figure out where he was.
No, you're not, Richard.
What a great story, man.
That's awesome.
Well, kudos to Oscar for going in and putting in the work. We'll get him on the show again one of these days. I'm sure.
He wanted to be on it, and it's just like, but I'm glad he stuck to his guns.
He stuck to his guns and went and got his work in. Yeah, today's media day. We only had like 12 people there, but it was just a weird day. We've had more.
The longest media day
it was long. It was just kind of spaced out, and so he had to go keep that boxing appointment. So totally understand. I think he had like an actual like gym session booked.
Yeah, he's been paying for these things. It's not like he's just going and like, hey, can I just squeeze in here? I mean, he's paying for these sessions, and that's why I'm giving extra props. I'm like, dude, all these gyms he's been going to, he's been dropping money to do it, you know.
Wow.
And
good for him, man.
Yeah, it's been impressive.
Does he know who he's gonna fight yet, or pretty sure?
We're pretty sure. We're pretty sure there's like one or two dudes, and one of them I think is kind of injured. I think he's gonna probably have to back out, but we're pretty sure we know who it is.
How are we feeling? I mean,
I give it to Oscar, but
yet?
the other guys, he's came a long way too. And what I noticed the other day, like when both of them go, you know, both of them have started to like pull some things back. But I thought Oscar had better of him when it comes down to knowing some submission stuff, and I think his striking is good too. But I mean, this kid has some decent striking. The other day when Oscar wasn't around, he was gone. He was doing more stuff on the ground that I've never seen him do before.
Oh, so he's holding back. He's sandbagging a little bit.
Fucker's been
He's
practicing.
sandbagging.
That's what I thought, because he was pulling out a fucking what do you call it, a buggy choke,
What?
and some other shit. And I was like, dude, what is going on here? Because he was doing some shit that I remember, like, because we have this different chat group between
Did you tell
a lot
Oscar?
of the people. I did.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people will find these moves that kind of correlate to some of the training, and we'll send them out. That was one of the moves, and then I started to see him practice, and I was like, dude, he's got the flexibility for it. He's got really long legs. I was like, but he did it good, and I saw him like get this kid, one of our other guys in the class, and I was just like, dude, he's fucking sandbagging. Like, he hasn't, like, I haven't seen him do that with Oscar, but Oscar maybe hasn't given him the chance, or when they get into it, Oscar hasn't given him a chance to present that sort of thing.
Right.
And maybe this other guy, as they're just training, is like, okay, yeah, work through it and get into it. But I was just like, wait a second. And so that's why I've told Oscar, because Oscar a lot of time will throw kicks, and I could see where the kid got impressed. I was like, Oscar, stop throwing head kicks. Stop throwing like shit. I was like, you got to hold back some stuff. Like, don't just show it all, because more than likely that's the kid you're going to be fighting. I was like, don't give him. How many times we heard training partners like, oh man, I've seen the best. I've seen what he can do. I'm not. And then even if he hasn't seen everything, you don't want that kid going and fully confident that he's.
Well, if he knows if he knows your tendencies, if he knows what you know, well, I know every time he moves this way, he does this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
But yeah, we're pretty sure. We're pretty sure who we think.
Psychology on play.
That's it though. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, you know, I think as you watch enough of this, and as we've been around the sport, we know that exists. Just at what point does it finally turn on? And I think this is the point. It's one thing, or it's early on. You guys could be training with your buddies, and everybody's buddy till the fight gets signed. Then all of a sudden, camps start separating a little bit. Secrets start happening, and people start doing this, but then they don't start talking. They start hiding little things, and then the mental side of it is. So we're starting to see that now, you know. So it's good. But if I had to put my
that's really interesting, because it gives you a better understanding of like when teammates have to fight each other. You're like, oh,
completely.
Well, you just come in at a different time, and it's all good.
My understanding of the sport, granted, I'm just touching the surface of like what it is, but I said the same thing earlier. Like, it's one thing to watch a move 10,000 times, and then the first time you try to do an Americano, you try to do a Kimura, and you're like, why isn't this working?
Right.
It's when you get those fine little details, and when you actually start working through it, and then a coach come by and telling you it's that little detail. Oh, you know, well, all right, take your wrist and curl them forward. You know, pull it close to your body. All these little things, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing them tapping, all these little things that my eyes have been much more open to this thing. So you're right. Like, seeing some of these things we knew existed and we know, but then when you start to see it in play and you're like, holy shit, this is like the things like when we hear teammates, you know, have to work, and then you see the separation, then you start seeing, well, do you guys object to which coach does which, or, you know, I'm sure, you know, and even things like that, you know, so it's unique, man. But still, you know, as the current leading staff picker of the MMA Junkie, I would lean towards Oscar right now.
I like it.
But he's got a tough fight. The kid's got youth. The kid's got length. He's a bit taller than Oscar, and the kid fucking goes, man. He's working his ass off. This kid's getting like multiple classes. He's going to a bunch of other classes afterwards and stuff. He's doing the work. He's doing. He's taken. I think he also knows that Oscar's going to be his competitor. Oscar came in there, and immediately a lot of people knew that they could tell that he had some jiu-jitsu skills and other stuff. They immediately put a target on him as being the guy you have to watch out for. So I think when this kid goes and gets these extra classes and working, he has Oscar in mind, and he's using that as motivation to keep going and driving. This kid's tough. It's not going to be an easy fight. I would lean towards Oscar, but I'm obviously very biased in one direction.
It's the Train Alta preview show right here, bro. We're breaking it down.
It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be.
I hope it does end up happening tough enough, and then
I want it too, because as nervous as these guys are, I think that the memories that they're gonna get from it being at a tough, as opposed to just being in the gym, and maybe that's that's a whole other side you're going to see, how somebody deals with those nerves, that energy, that nervous energy. Can they turn it into energy to fuel them forward, or are they going to crumble under the pressure, So, dude, it's pretty incredible, and so all of a sudden this became a Train Alta class, but
that's funny though.
Preview, but dude, it's super exciting, and it's getting to the crunch, but no, I'm proud of Oscar, and I mean, if there's anything, you were there when Safe came back in the back. Safe Side from Fortis came back and was like, "Yo, your boy,
while he was in Dallas,
talked about Oscar. Was like, your boy did work, and he's like, I'm proud of him. He's like, he worked his butt off, and I mean, like, Safe doesn't pull punches. If Safe thinks you're half-assing or whatever, he's gonna just straight up say it. And so when he said Oscar was doing the work, I was like." He even said it to Rich too, because Rich, I guess, now lives down by Dallas.
He moved to Texas.
And Rich, he told Rich, he's like, "Yeah, man, some guys came down and got some work down there." And Rich was like, "That's awesome."
That's funny, man.
So yeah, man.
It's funny you mentioned, boy, you talking about doing it tough enough. It reminded me, and it wasn't involved with the Winter Warrior program. I think this might predate the program, but the memories just came flooding back to me, man. 2014, Spencer Lazara, who if you're an old school MMA fan, you'll remember Spencer Lazara as doing some interviews and some media and stuff like that out of SoCal. I think now he's doing like matchmaking for Tough Enough, but he fought, and at the time we thought of him as just a journalist. He was training, but he was like doing interviews and stuff like that. And man, first round comes out and he's drained, dude. You know what I mean? He's absolutely it's 2 minutes, but it goes. I mean, it's full adrenaline, right? And he was drained. We're like, uh-oh. Second round, he comes out and scores a knockout, dude. Not like a devastating. And dude, the place went nuts, and it became like kind of a viral clip at the time. I mean, old school fans might remember, but as cool as it would be to get a knockout in the gym around just your boys or whatever, if there's something like that, a sweet submission or a knockout and get it in front of a crowd and get it in front of maybe some video and stuff, I mean, that's pretty cool stuff.
I mean, when you look at now that they're having some pro guys on the thing, but it's always been just amateur. So somebody that's just coming in there expecting to watch an amateur fight, they're going to look at them, even though they're 0-0, just the same as they're going to look at this guy that's maybe their third, fourth, or fifth amateur fight. They're going to expect a certain thing, so they're going to be judging them. And if you go out there and put on a great performance, they're going to think, oh, yeah, man, that dude's fucking tough. I hope to see him somewhere someday, So that could be some of these kids in the class. There's one dude from our class that made the amateur team. Like on the second week or something, he was like grinding. He was good, dude. He's got a really good heart. Fucking went out for it and tried, and it wasn't that he was like the best and like wasn't the baddest, but he kept trying. He kept going, and when it got done doing like a little section, he would run back over. And Chris Curtis, I guess, loved him. Was like, dude, I love this dude's energy. So like, I guess when they got towards the end and they're all sort of picking like guys they want to do it, one of the dudes in our class did it. So I mean, like,
that's awesome. And so is he still finishing the class?
No, he's just. I think he had to stop. He ended up got a little hurt or whatever, but now he's just doing the amateur shit, wearing his black eyes with pride and shit. So it's cool. But same thing when he said, like, he's like, guys, I'm not trying to blow hot air up your ass. He's like, but some of the shit grinding with you guys is just as hard as some of the shit we're doing in this amateur class. So he's like, just fucking do it. So it's cool, man.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. It's pretty cool.
That's cool, man. All right. Well, I guess as much as I'm sure we could just continue to talk
thanks
train
for
off
listening. That's your episode.
I guess we got to talk a little UFC 278 as well. That's the reason we're here, of course. The UFC in Salt Lake City for the first time for a pay-per-view. Of course, they've been here before. If I remember right, last time we were here was a fight night that was on like a Sunday night, which everybody was like, "Why did you do Sunday in Salt Lake City?" And
I
it
can't
was
remember.
not a highly attended event. But this time, I think they're expecting a sellout. It's a big one, and of course, in the main event, Kamaru Usman puts his welterweight belt on the line in a rematch with Leon Edwards, who worked his way back here over the course of 7 years. Hasn't lost since. Snake bit. It's all been well documented, all the stuff that he went through. And, listen, it's funny. As we're here on Fight Week, now obviously we've known this fight is happening for a while. We've known that Leon has wanted this rematch for a long time. We've known that Leon wanted the title shot for a long time. And we knew this was coming, and this has been on the books for a long time. I will admit that I wasn't really all that fired up about the fight, if I'm just being 100% completely honest, until this week. Because then I really started thinking about the matchup itself. You know what I mean? Like, Leon is not the big salesman. You know what I mean? We just had media day today, and God bless him. He doesn't talk and I'm not saying people need to talk trash, but it's not even like just the most enthusiastic stuff. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like, well, I'm here and put in the work and think it's my time. And I mean, look, he's good, but I'm good too. All right, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's got an amazing story. I mean, the BT Sport, as they always do, man, they do incredible stuff. They really, in terms of broadcast partners, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe there's other countries that do really cool stuff as well, but I've never seen it. But their stuff I tend to see, and they do cool stuff. And Leon Edwards has a pretty incredible backstory, and they've done a great job of telling that. But again, I don't think this is the most marketable fight ever. Like, is this going to be a massive pay-per-view sell? I don't think so. But as we're here this week and I start thinking about it, I am actually very, very intrigued by this fight, right? And it's twofold, I think. Number one, I mean, Kamaru Usman is saying all the right things, right? But you do wonder a little bit, is he starting to get that like I'm indestructible kind of feel around him? Like, hey man, if I show up, I win because I'm Kamaru Usman and I'm the Nigerian Nightmare and look at who all I've beat, like,
Right.
and including this guy. Including this guy, like I've already beat this guy once. I starched Jorge Masvidal. I beat Gilbert. Like, does he start buying into the hype a little bit? I don't know. All right, and then you think about too, like, it's interesting because you think about how their skills have progressed in 7 years. And, I'm not saying that Leon Edwards is anywhere near Kamaru Usman's level of wrestling. But in terms of just defensive wrestling and being able to stay upright or able to get back to his feet, I think he's a lot better than he was 7 years ago,
Yep.
right? And, I wonder too, and we've seen it happen over the years, you get guys that get a big knockout and then all of a sudden they're a striker. And, does Kamaru come in here and say, hey, man, I know I can wrestle this guy, but let me show the world I got these hands too. And I'm gonna go toe-to-toe with this striker, and I'm going to show him what's up because, I'm working with Trevor Whitman. I can tell you where my game has come and, where we've progressed. And I don't know, man. Like, there's no way, there's no way I would just straight out say, I'm putting down my rent money this month on Leon Edwards. I feel so good that I'm putting down my rent money. No. But am I thinking that, like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity? Like, yeah. I'm more intrigued by this fight now. Am I crazy for thinking maybe this is a better fight than I thought it was when it was first announced?
I think it is. I mean, but a lot, like you said, 7 years, a lot has changed. I mean, Kamaru was 6-1, or maybe he was 6-1 after. No, he's 6-1 after that. So he came in with 6 fights. He's 20-1 now. He's had 14 fights since then. Leon's had 9 fights since then. Let me double check that, but roughly 9 fights.
Yeah.
So when you think about the growth,
Neither one of them lost.
neither one of them lost, but like so much growth. I mean, that's literally Kamaru's had 3 times as many fights as he had going into that fight.
Crazy.
Or is that 4 times? Somebody do the math. But I mean, that's absolutely, to say that he is anywhere the same human being would be idiotic. The
Yep.
same thing for Leon. I mean, boy, I just feel bad because I feel like, imagine how many fights Leon would have had if he was actually getting matched up with people nobody wanted to fight. This is the guy that nobody wanted to match, and that was for a reason.
Right.
We've seen many, many fighters that have great skills in one area get pulled out of their realm because like you said, they think that they're strikers. They want to do this other stuff. We've talked about before, like Cerrone, how Cerrone should have beaten Diaz, but got pulled out of his head
Right.
and got pieced up. If that happens in this, there is quite that possibility. But I just think Kamaru, his head's on a whole different level right now. I just don't see him getting out of his head and doing something that's going to be silly. I mean, it'd be one thing maybe if he was more like The Rock, which he aspires to be, and be distracted by Hollywood, I wanted when he's like, I don't know how I get like The Rock. I want to do it. I wanted to say like, well, first you got to do that fairy movie with the Tooth Fairy movie that The Rock did. Then you got to do some Jumanjis. I mean, it's going to be two incredibly different fighters that I think it's going to play out so different. So I have to take about how each guy is right now, and I think Kamaru right now, just his mindset, the way that he's fighting, I think he's smart enough to not make this just a pure striking fight. And I just feel with his grappling and his overall strength and just the way to sort of control fighters, get them up against the cage. You can't strike if you're up against the cage.
Yep.
And that's why I think he's just going to make it dirty. Does that mean he's going to get him down, get him up against the cage and just immediately work him down the ground? Quite possibly. But even if he just gets him over against the cage and starts tiring out his legs, tiring out his arms, while, if Leon's there the whole time trying to get underhooks, trying to pull him off, do his other stuff, and then next thing you know, he doesn't have that same arm strength to do the damage that is what he's mainly known for. But in terms of boxing and in terms of just striking finesse, of course, Leon's just going to look absolutely incredible. If Kamaru gets out there and throw those big haymakers, thinking that I'm going to get one and done and get it done, and Leon dodges every one, he's going to get real tired really quick, man, throwing all that power. And then that becomes, maybe then we start seeing the champ start to waver a little bit, if he starts feeling that he's getting tired, if Leon doesn't let him make connection. And if he's trying to punch Leon and he can't contact him, he's going to get frustrated.
Yep.
And who knows where his head goes. But I just think that right now, Kamaru's so good.
It comes down to discipline, right?
It
comes down to discipline, right? I mean, it comes down to mental discipline to me. Because I agree, the skill set, I think Kamaru has what it takes to win this fight. I mean, I do think, Leon, 7 years he's been thinking about this, thinking about this guy and the title opportunity, and they come together at the same point. Like, you got to think he's going to be in there. But even still, I think Kamaru's skill set is good enough, unless he thinks I can take this dude out on the feet.
But like you said, like he's been thinking in this fight, this title shot for 7 years. How much pressure do you put on yourself? How much do you try to go out there and end this? Like, he's got to stay in his head and don't get brought out, by the emotion of the event actually being here. I loved everything that he said. When he was breaking down the people that Kamaru beat, it just made it sound silly. Like, he's like, I don't know what Gilbert was doing out there, and then he's like, oh, and this other guy, and this other guy. And I was just like, wow, he's not giving any credit to Kamaru's hands at all. Like, he feels, in his eyes, he still sees Kamaru as very one-dimensional. And if he's seen him as very one-dimensional, I think that could be a mistake that he's going to learn to regret. Because if he doesn't respect Kamaru's power, it only takes one shot to just dizzy him for a moment. And then if Kamaru gets him down, that's all he's going to do. Even if he just hurts him, he doesn't. He might try to finish him on the feet, but more than likely, knowing Kamaru, he's going to use that to get him down to the ground and then ground and pound, tire him out. And he's got 5 rounds to do it. So if he can just keep rinsing and repeat, eventually a tired Leon is more susceptible to the knockout.
You think even though we're here in the new market, or not the new market, but the first pay-per-view, the first big fight they get, we're going to hear some boos? We're going to hear some boos because Usman's going to be kind of...
If it's just up against the cage and they're just grinding, and like where he's trying to get him down, trying to get him down, and there's not a lot of action,
and then
possibly.
I think that comes down to mental discipline too, right? Like, does he care? Does he care?
And part of that maybe if all the fights up to that are just gangbusters, knockouts, boom, 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 everybody's going to want the same.
Right.
If the night's been sort of so-so action, I think they'll have a little bit more leeway because they understand that, not every fight's going to be a knockout or a finish. But if they've been treated the whole night with spectacular finishes, the moment it gets against the cage and nothing's happening for like 30 seconds, they're going to start losing their fucking minds, But who knows? Maybe this market's smart, or maybe they understand, I know they've been wanting to come back here. Maybe just like when, a fight goes over to Japan, the Tokyo fans aren't complaining when there's good grappling and there's good defense going on. Maybe the market here will surprise us. You never know. I'm hopeful that people watching this sport are always educating themselves and understanding that not everything is going to be a crazy knockout. But man, the immediate payoff that we've been getting recently with the Contender Series and some of these UFC, these other fights, you almost expect it,
Yep.
and when it's not there, you're like, oh, was that really what we thought we were going to get? People are paying hard-earned money to go watch an event, so they want action, they want fireworks, so maybe we'll hear some boos.
All right, so each of us leading the staff picks in our respective work outlets.
Yeah, who's number 2 over here?
I don't look below.
You don't even, yeah.
I mean, why do I
when you're that far up, you
saying?
don't see the people way down below.
Lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of sheep. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking down there. What did you go with Usman in your pick?
I went with Usman.
Yeah, I went with Usman.
I think it's a safe pick. And I mean, and nowadays it's like it's almost, there's got to be a real big reason why you're going to make me not pick the current champ.
Yeah.
There's like a champ bonus, like they have a built-in power up, because they know what it took to get there. They just don't want to lose it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe if somebody, we've seen and we've heard from fighters say, maybe I lost that hunger once I was at the top, but you're not going to see that from either one of these guys, and most of the champs, the current champs, aren't at that point, you
right.
know. Even though a lot of people say, well, Kamaru, he's just been, holding it for so long. Maybe he's looking at boxing. He wants to go elsewhere. Kamaru's not the type that he's going to take this easy, and especially in a fight like this, because everybody's going to be coming back, and I guarantee everybody's like, oh, man, this is the dude.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that everybody's been ducking that you haven't wanted to fight, So I think he's gonna do the work, and I think it's going to be good. And as the guy that currently has a 6 lead, I have a 6-pick lead over number 2. Now I'm almost just trying to pad my picks. I'm like, who's the most likely that everybody's going to pick? But I'm not ready to start playing like safe.
As soon as you start gaming the system,
that's when
you pay for it.
That's when I fuck out.
Yeah, that's when you pay for it. You got to just pick your picks, man.
Yeah. I'm straight up Usman. As much as I think Leon he has a chance, I'm definitely not counting him out and saying that he doesn't have any chance. I'm giving the champ bonus. Somebody's gonna have to do something, and when he loses, then maybe I'll be like, oh, Kamaru, the magic is done.
He could be one of those ones that loses once and walks away. He'd probably want a rematch first, but he's kind of admitted he wants to do other things.
I should have asked him if he had a speaking line in the movie, or if he's just like
an extra.
An extra.
Pretty funny.
When he's talking like, oh, they might cut my scene. I'm like,
that's me right there in the background, dog. You see that? Over there?
The guy that was running.
Man number 2. Man number 2.
Security guard. Did they give you the red security shirt? Oh yeah, your shit's getting cut. You're getting cut.
Funny. That's too funny. All right, that's the main event. Co-main event, of course, an intriguing one as well. Paulo Costa and Luke Rockhold. So funny, I was talking to UFC President Dana White earlier about this, and I was saying
nice
to him,
there,
let me
how to.
let me pick this up.
Oh, you were just talking to your friend. Oh, I was just talking to D-Dub.
Sorry about that. Pick this up over here. Just drop that name over there. But I was saying to him, is this a fight where you just? Because to me, I don't know that I can ever recall a fight where there's more question marks around both guys, where I just don't know what to expect out of either one of them, man. You know what I mean? And from we haven't seen Luke perform at all in 3 years. We haven't seen Paulo Costa win a fight in 3 years. And you have the whole weight cut fiasco and all that.
I'm good. I'm like, bro, you look the same as the last time you missed weight. You look way too healthy.
He was like, "Do you want to bet me that I won't make weight?" I was kind of I started to be like, "What kind of odds you give me?"
Yeah,
what
are we betting? Just a gentleman's shake. What are we talking about?
But listen,
bottle of wine.
Paulo was in good spirits today, and he was continues to improve his English. Was laughing and having fun. Was joking about his Twitter account and some of the things he said, and promised
100% me.
It's
100% me.
And then it's just cheesy. Yeah, it was great. And had a good time. So he looks good. Meanwhile, Luke had some intensity about him, man, and some anger, a little chip on his shoulder, I think.
Chip on his shoulders. That's a good way of describing it.
So I wanted to share some of that audio. I'll just share the portion that was me talking to him, because even that ran kind of long, and Luke always gives very complete answers, but today it was even more so. So I just wanted to give you a little shot of that, and hear a little bit of Luke Rockhold, because again, it's so much question marks, so many wondering what's going on. I mean, this has potential to be a very violent, very crazy fight, but I guess it kind of depends on what guys show up. So here was the conversation from just a few hours earlier with Luke Rockhold.
Luke, man, welcome back. It's been 3 years, I guess, at this point. First fight week. I know it's still kind of early in the week, but what are the emotions like right now, and how does it feel to finally be back?
Feels right. Feels good. Gets better and better by the day. Definitely. I was nervous 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Excuse me. Yeah. No. Whoops.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I feel like you can all hear me up here anyway, but yeah, I'm fighting a beast, no doubt. And I wanted that. I want a guy that scares me and gets me up in the morning. And that fuels me to fucking push myself to that end of who I am. And that's what defines a real man, is the finding the biggest test, the biggest challenge, and going out there and fucking putting themselves up to it. You're going to succeed or die trying. Well, otherwise, no matter what, you're learning in the process, And, there were some moments in this training camp where it was long, man. He delayed this fight. It was supposed to be International Fight Week, and then something come up. He bitched and complained, and it went to Dallas, and then, I don't know, rumors of cosmetic bullshit. I don't know what's going on, but, hey, we're in August, and the UFC confirmed that this will be the last change, and, I like this opponent a lot. It put me right back into, the heat of it. You know me, I'm always going straight for the jugular. I've never been scared to do it, and I don't want to dance around. I'm not trying to do anything, stay here longer than I have to. I want to go out there, and I want to try to fucking do this thing right. So I got through those hard points in the training camps, the parts that were like injuries and things, and was it right? Is it wrong? Where am I at? What's this? But I feel fucking good. Right now, I feel stronger and stronger by the day, and it feels right. I'm not questioning myself. I'm going to go out there no matter what. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try to be the best I can be, And like I said before, the less I question myself, the more I can see this man questioning himself.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you talk about what a dangerous guy is, and he certainly has been at times, but he's been inconsistent as of late as well. It feels like there's a lot of question marks around him.
Adversity makes a man. He has not been able to deal with adversity. It's only getting worse, and we'll see who the man shows up. This is the real test. The first loss was one thing, and he used weight as a weakness, as what he did. He missed weight. He tried to pull the 10 pounds up, and he couldn't. Then he use that that is an advantage he's trying to seek because he's a fucking weak-minded motherfucker. But now the real test is here. This is like one loss, two losses. Everything's on the line now. Now as the fucking real man shows up. I've dealt with adversity in the past. I lost my second fight. Everyone was already, before I even fought, they were like ready to put me in versus Matt Hughes. I remember they were like, you can fucking win right now. And I go out and lose, and everyone's like, oh, he's nothing. I'm like, fuck all you. I'm still the man. I stormed through everybody, and I won Strikeforce World Championship over, and I defended that motherfucker twice. I come to the UFC, disrespected, right off the bat. The Daniel and fucking Gilbert, they all got credit. I didn't get shit. Go fight Vitor on steroids in fucking Brazil. Kick clip, get fucking spinning heel kicked in the face. Oh, he ain't shit. He ain't fucking nothing. Now he's really not nothing. Fucking bullshit. I go fight Costa Philippou, a fucking dangerous striker. I should fucking get mopped in. Then I'm gonna take him down. I need to do this, do that. What did I do? I knocked that motherfucker out. The same fucking fighter. The same guys working off intimidation and power and what they do. I've dealt with adversity. He hasn't.
The way you speak right now, obviously, it's fight week. There's an edge about you, but I just wonder, I guess, kind of what your relationship is with the sport right now. Like, you're here, but are you enjoying the process at all? I mean, is this something that you're like, I'm happy I made this choice, or is it just like, this is something I have to do?
No, it's something I want to do. I took a long time away to understand what I want and to go do this thing on my own accord. And, I chased it and forced it, and I did this shit out of hate for a while, especially after losing the title. I lost my focus after I won the title, the undisputed title. I went at it for the wrong reasons, for money and different things, and you're trying to fucking navigate business and different things, and you're going out there trying to overprove yourself and force the situation. You can see it in my fight. You watch the first Bisping fight, I was a predator. I was a killer. And I went into the second fight just fucking like an idiot running forward. After I lost the title, then you get belittled by the beast. The leverage game. All business. Anywhere you go. It's not just the UFC. I mean, it's a bigger, stronger mafia here, for sure. And they belittle you, and they try to gain advantage and try to belittle your worth. And it turns you to hate. And you start fighting out of hate to prove yourself, to do this, to do that, and do it all for all the wrong reasons. Yeah. And I did that for a while. And injuries corrupt you too, of course. And they make you force the issue, and they compromise you, and they make you do different things. And I ran to Florida trying to figure it out, trying to force what's wrong, what's this, that's that. And you try to go, and you go in uncomfortable positions that's not you. And I was like, fuck, I lost my fucking love for the sport. And I got out of, going into 205 too, all these things, fighting Yoel and him missing weight and fucking, Yoel cheating son of a bitch and everything else he's doing too. The time away just gave me an understanding of learning about my body, really, learning what is health, and correcting everything. That time I chose to go away and to live my life, because you get caught up in the beast that is the UFC, and you're always preparing for a fight, or you're recovering from a fight. There's a fight on the horizon. You can't go here, you can't go there, you can't go with your friends, your family, you can't do all this shit in life. And I was like, fuck, I want to go fucking live some life. And you don't even mature, you don't grow, because you're doing all this shit, and then you're like, oh, you got to go media, you got to do sponsorships, engagements, and you're caught up in a whirlwind of fucking just craziness. Is fucked up. So it was a chance for me to grow, mature, learn what I wanted to do next, give to the people. And then so many injuries and things that mounted, shoulders, and so having to really navigate the essence of health and what it is, and then obviously falling into COVID and wanting to go out and live my life, and then getting fucking shot down by COVID. So it's kind of fucked up. So I ended up drinking way too much, partying way too much, and doing the things like I think most of us did. Went off the fucking deep end, and I'm fucking living life and doing things. And then a lot of bad things happened in my life, and broke me down. And then I just kind of hit the wall, and I was like, I started to kind of train I started to train a bit, try to build it back, but I was still partying on the weekends and doing things, and you can't really build my body back to a place where I was like, okay, I could fight. And then something really, the abortion and all the bad shit happened, all the lies, and it was fucking hard, because when you think about having a kid, when you're ready to have it, and you're like, it was not like, it was a mistake, it wasn't like it was meant to be, but like once it happened, it was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this and this, that, and it just starts breeding lies, and then the lifestyle just, it was not, can't bring people into lies, and it just week to week, it just got worse and worse. And so we had to pull the plug, and I believe we made the right decision, and I was just like, fuck, this all needs to fucking stop. I want to have a family one day, but I want to do it right, when it's healthy and when it's right, and I got to be a good position in my life. And my life was just going fucking down the wrong way, and I needed to get back in the gym, and I needed to get my health and do my thing. And so that started with sobriety. So 7 months now, about going strong and just really investing in health. I partnered with a biohacking team to get all my nutrition right, without getting just optimum levels of athleticism. And when you get your body right, when the vessel's right, the head gets right, and putting all those pieces into play, and my life started to come back together. Everything started to really pull back in all these different avenues of success and growth and places, and it came to me. And then being in there and feeling the energy with Perillo and Cheeto, there's no one more real than Perillo. Fucking guy took my world title. It's a small fucking world. I mean, who better to work with than the guy that knows my weaknesses, right? So fuck. Drawing inspiration from Cheeto too. Fucking guy's a little gangster. I love his energy, and you got to learn from the young bucks sometimes. There's always little things like, just running, the foundation, the balance, the fucking density in your legs. when you're fucking strong down low, it just builds the foundation of what's upstairs. And the mind, and it's all on you. You can stop at any time on the road and quit, or you can keep fucking going. And a lot of those things I pulled from that little motherfucker, and has strengthened me and put me back here. And my life is, learning what is health. Almost like what is it? What is health? Right? Health is wealth. Health is the ultimate luxury in life. If we all out of health, we have nothing. So, we're building tendencies and problems every day. Our circulation's going down. We're all fucking dying at a certain rate. If you're not pricking, you're poking, you're moving, you're trying to fight that, you're gonna fall that much faster. So it's learning the corrective patterns of life and increasing circulation and decreasing inflammation and fucking getting all the toxicity out of your body. All these things which led to me to believe that I could fucking fight at the best. And so once I felt that, it was like, let's go test myself against the best. Let's go to AK. Let's go to fucking Florida. Let's go around here and let's fucking feel it out. Guess what? I still fucking got it.
Nice. Last thing for me, Luke. I mean, the big moment, as you said, you got a dangerous guy, you're back. You want to win this fight, you want to fight for a title. But I'm just curious, this phase of your career, do you view this as like a long-term return to the sport? Like, you're fully back and you love it and you're in it? Or is this just like come in, get gold, get out, prove the point?
It's a 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch. That's it. I mean, this is it, man. I want to come. My last fight at middleweight was against Yoel Romero for the world title. And he missed weight by 3 pounds to gain an advantage. And God knows what else he was fucking doing. I'm here. I'm fighting one of the baddest motherfuckers. I get through him. What's next? If they don't give it to me, see ya. I don't need shit. That's why I can be the man I am today in front of you and say it like it is. And I see all you guys around here right now, and I see this motherfucker right here. You got to do your fucking homework. You fucking, this degenerate culture of fucking barstool sports and full send is like you got to do your homework. You can't approach Cheeto and give him a fucking Mexican mask about his culture. His culture, he's fucking Ecuadorian, motherfucker. Do your homework.
It wasn't to do with his background. I was literally just in San Diego, bro.
No, but you gave him a Mexican mask and you said, this is your culture. Like you're wrestling. You said something along those lines.
I said
it was a disrespect. It was a disrespect to him and where he's from. So it's about being a reporter. It's about doing your homework and really understanding what I know you guys got carte blanche because Dana's fucking partner with you guys right now, but fucking do your fucking homework and grow a better culture.
So Jason,
stop giving bad culture to kids.
Jason House is his manager, who's a friend of mine. I had texted Jason before I did the interview. I said, hey, Jason, I went out, I picked up this thing from the market. Nothing to do with Cheeto's culture. It was just something interesting.
You related it to him being a Mexican.
No, I didn't. When did I call
That's
him?
how he took it. That's Mexican culture.
But when did I call him Mexican in the interview? Anyways, I worked it out with Jason.
I know. I'm just saying, just do your homework before you get there. And it's just creating a better culture, man. That's what it comes down to.
I get you, bro. But like I said, it was no.
I understand. But I'm just saying.
I got
Just
you.
for future reference.
Have you watched any of our other interviews?
No, I don't.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Luke, over the past.
And I don't you either. It's all good.
All right, so I mean, intense stuff there from Luke Rockhold. And if you want to hear more of that, I mean, obviously, go to your your favorite media outlet of your choosing, because everybody was there today. Because it went on. He went on to go ahead to continue, talking about insurance for fighters and how the sport needs to change and what needs to be improved, and just saying, look, I don't need this sport, and so because of that, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say exactly what I want to say, and these are the things that are messed up and need to change. So, I
wish he'd sort of clarify it, because when a fighter gets hurt in a fight, they get covered.
Right.
That's all covered. I think what a lot of these fighters is year-round. I think even the UFC has helped when they've been training in a fight camp.
Yes.
I've heard stories like
Yes.
that. But when you're not in fight camp, when you're not training, and when you're not immediately after a fight where you maybe have some injuries, what's happening at that point?
Right.
That's the point where a lot of these fighters are like, why do we not have something right now? They either have to go out just like any other independent contractor. They have to either get something from what used to be the old marketplace. I'm not sure what it's called now.
Right.
That's the stuff that they want. They want year-round health care, whether you're in a fight camp or whether you're training for a fight or not.
Yep.
And that's the stuff they don't. And we've seen multiple. Tony Ferguson harped on the exact same thing.
The other thing that I've heard a couple times as well is the treatment options. You know what I mean? Where you may be like, this is the better option for me.
Yeah.
But they're like, the insurance that they have is like, no, you need to do this. And
That's
it's like,
true.
No, that will impact me long term. I want to go this route instead. And so, but listen, I mean, it's good that he's standing up and talking about it. You know, I mean, it's not going to curry him any favors with the boss, especially as he's trying to get a title shot. Which when I was speaking with Dana, you know, he basically said like, you know, when I said, hey, if Rockhold wins, I mean, is he in that talk? And he was like, he basically shut it down and was like, man, you want to sit around and wait for a title shot? Like, good luck with that. And you always know when Dana throws out the good luck with that, you know exactly what he means there. So I don't know. It's interesting, right? Because on the one hand, and again, you know, known Luke for a long time, so like I respect what he's saying and doing. But again, as far as the question marks, a lot of what he was saying sounded good. Like his heart's back in it. You know, he got himself healthy. Like he really, you know, hearing that he's sober. I will say that when he said at one point that everything is medicine until it becomes a poison, and then looked straight at me, I felt like he was trying.
But that's a whole other thing
too.
When he's like saying sober, if you're still taking psychedelics and say marijuana, you're not sober. You're just You're just not drinking
sober from alcohol.
Yeah.
Sober from, I did think that was funny.
I was like, you know, you're still using. Like you're still using. You know, I mean, I think if you're gonna say that you're sober or that you're being clean or whatever, I mean, like you have to be completely off of narcotics. You know, like anything that's altering. I mean, like, but like you said, in his mind, it's medicine. It's altering. It's writing different neural paths, and I agree with all that shit. Like it's true. Like I mean, I've had my time with acid and shrooms on it, and I love it.
Too.
So I mean, I loved it then. I wouldn't fuck with it now. I got way too much baggage now.
Oh yeah, you can do it now.
I almost wanted to ask him, but I was like, I don't want to take this down like where we're just talking about drugs. But like, it's definitely one thing when you're younger and you don't have as much baggage on you, because when you are older, you have to be able to be strong in yourself, your self-awareness. Because if you have a lot of baggage and you have a lot of shit that you're like, I just don't know what I'm gonna do. Yes, you maybe will take these hallucinogenics and figure out a way to deal with the stress and the things that you're doing. And I think a lot of people, that does work with either the right people guiding you or people that are along the same lines and helping show the way, or people that aren't dealing well with stress can really mess themselves up further, because these neural pathways and stuff that they're creating could go down the wrong way if they don't understand and not treating it right. And that's why that's why I jokingly say, you know, it's a young man's game where you have less baggage, because you have less potential hazards that, you know, could alter what you're trying to establish in your head. But I mean, I love the fact that he was so blatantly open about using that sort of stuff. So even about the, you know, the healthcare and other stuff, I mean, like all the stuff he said it's great shit. It just came with like this side of like this chip on a shoulder that was hard to like.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because like on part of it, it's like, man, it seems like this guy's in a good place, and on part of it, you're like, it seems like he hates everything
like
right now. You know what
like
I mean?
He's very upset about something.
Yeah.
Like, you could definitely tell he felt like he wanted to get something off his chest. So if there was anything that was great about that was a platform, and I felt like at the very end of it, you saw this. And he even smiled a little bit. So I was like, fuck, he's been carrying that around for a minute where he wanted to get that off his chest. So I felt good that he had a place to do that. So, you know, for all those that maybe might just be like, oh, man, he was just ranting, he was just grumpy, it was whatever. I guess so, but at the very end, it got what he needed to do. Because at the very end, he looked like a man that took a whole bunch of shit off his chest, and he was breathing better, and he's probably going to go for the rest of the fight week feeling a hell of a lot better because he got that out of his system.
And listen, when Luke Rockhold has his body right and his mind right, he's dangerous, dog. And when I look down here,
champ. He was a champ.
when I see him floating up around plus 280.
Is he really?
Whoa, yeah.
That's crazy. It has to be just because of the time away.
100%.
Time away. I mean,
And
I know he had some
He
injuries.
looked rough before he took the time off, but
Yeah.
if he's truly back 100%, like you say, I took all this time, I healed up, I got my body right, I got my mind right. I even, obviously, as we heard, I asked him, is this, you're doing this because you have to or because you want to be here? And he's like, no, I don't have to do this.
He wants to be here.
Yeah, I want to be here. So, dude, but again, wanting to be here and taking a full-on Paulo Costa, shot to the head. I mean, Paulo's dangerous, but again, question mark. All I'm saying is, to me, there's so much question marks here that if I'm seeing I can get Luke Rockhold, as you said, a former champ, at like plus 280, like that's awfully tempting.
I think it's really tempting. I mean, because we've seen, even with like Izzy, there's something about Izzy that just shuts people down. They don't show what they can do. Like, I remember going in that fight thinking like, oh, Costa's just going to swing for the fence. He's going to knock him out. And he just got gun shy. If there's ever maybe another guy that can, if he can channel the right energy and the right moves and maybe the right strikes to throw him off, it's going to be Rockhold. I mean, like, dude's got great length. He's got good size on him. If he can get it to the point where Paulo's like very respectful of his striking and gets gun shy, then Luke's got a great chance to really take this away. I mean, I think I did lean in my picks. I think I did pick Costa.
I think that's
but that's not. I'm not like, man. I'm like you, just like what you alluded to. I'm not going to put my rent payment on it.
Yep.
I don't feel safe enough to do that. But I'm confident enough with nothing on the line to say, yeah, I picked Costa.
Exactly. I agree. 100%. I think you're spot on with that. So I'm intrigued by that one. I'm intrigued as well by Jose Aldo and Merab Dvalishvili. Look, I'm a big Merab fan, man. I've been a big Merab fan for a long time. I like these insane wrestlers with unstoppable cardio. That to me is just such a weapon. Like, it's what Khabib made a career out of, right? And you see that with Merab, from the early going. Like, how do you stop a dude that has insane grappling and a gas tank that will not stop? Because that is hard. I mean, it's really hard to deal with. And so I've always been a big fan of Merab. And then once you get to know Merab, he's just like the nicest human being on the planet. You know what I mean? He's always got big energy, and it's fun. Then, at the same time, Jose Aldo is a damn legend, dude. You know what I mean? Just from the WEC, from, 14 years ago, we've been covering his career, and, man, it was kind of nice today. He actually was talking. Somebody asked him what had changed in the sport, and he's like, the sport's totally different. You had guys like him that believed in it from the beginning. I was like, oh, that was nice. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. But he's a legend. And to think, we've been covering his career for 14 years from a 21-year-old kid, coming into the WEC and just all that stuff. And now, I mean, a true legend of the sport. And a true legend that literally has the respect other than maybe Conor McGregor, I guess, of like everybody on the roster. You know what I mean?
But I guarantee Conor deep down still has respect for him. I'm sure he wants to talk shit and like, I still got you in like 4 seconds.
But you have to revere what he's done.
You got to.
So I love this fight. I'm intrigued by it. Little surprised to see this too, and to be honest, I think it was kind of the way I was leaning. Merab a slight favorite. It's damn near a pick'em, but Merab a slight favorite. And I think I understand that. We have seen Jose Aldo take a couple setbacks. He is later on in his career. But, he does have impeccable takedown defense, man. Yep. I mean, he really does. And, of course, his striking is phenomenal. So, like, it's weird, man. This one, to me, is going to be a hard one for me to watch because I want both guys to win, And as far as, like, actually picking a winner, I definitely do see paths for both guys. So I understand why the line is so tight. I'm a little surprised to see Merab as the favorite. I thought maybe just the Aldo name value would carry him.
Right. And the last 3 fights that he won. I mean, the last 3 are fucking killers, man. Munoz, Font, and Vera. Like, seriously?
I'm telling you, man.
It's ridiculous.
I'm telling you. So I'm intrigued by this one. I think and look.
Gun to your head. Who you picking?
Aldo.
That's who I picked.
Aldo.
That's who I picked. It's tough. I went back and forth, and I was gonna go Merab, but I was like, dude, Aldo's just. The last fight, I think I picked Rob Font, and Aldo was like, I was like, wow, he was very down. I was just like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. He's on another level, and he believes he's making another run right now, and it's like, wow, if Aldo believes that, and he's how old is he? He's 35. He's still right in the middle. He's still right in the middle.
He can keep going for a while.
He can still go for another 5 years easy.
He thinks he deserves a title shot with a win here. Look, 135 is tough to figure out right now, but I do think, and I asked Dana about this as well, and he said, you know, he didn't answer directly. Basically, what I said is, I mean, given Aldo's history, given who he is, you know, he wins. Does he have the inside track? And Dana's like, you know, the great thing is I get to sit back and watch it all, and I get to make a decision. So he wouldn't commit to that, but I do think maybe Aldo would have a little bit of the inside track. You know what I mean?
I mean, out of either one of these two winning, Aldo's definitely, with his name space and what he's done, you got to think that he gets a bigger nudge.
I would think so.
with the
And
victory.
I was comparing that to like the winner of O'Malley Yan, the winner of Sanhagen Song. You know what I mean? But I still think out of all those, like he's got even O'Malley, because O'Malley's got time on his side.
Yep.
You know what I mean? O'Malley's got time on his side. So interesting fight there. Tyson Pedro versus Harry Hunsucker at light heavyweight. Tyson Pedro's back. Tyson Pedro looking lean today, by the way. You know, and in just incredible space. He did break my heart.
Yes, he
by,
did.
by revealing that he is not using his normal walkout track, which I'm feeling sexual was like, dude. You know what's funny is when he had his comeback fight. I had totally forgotten about that song. It had been 4 years.
Yep.
And I'm sitting in there in the Apex, and all of a sudden that shit comes on, and I was like, I remember this. I'm feeling sexual.
Shit was catchy as all get out.
But you know what I did? I didn't push it because he said I changed it.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because it's Salt Lake City, and this is a bit of a, you know, maybe a more conservative town. Do you think the UFC would make that concession?
No, because I feel like he used something else in another fight since then. I feel like, because he didn't use it on the last one, right?
No, he did. That's what I'm saying. It was the comeback fight.
But I feel like we've had multiple times where he didn't use that.
Beforehand.
He switched it up beforehand, and then maybe went back thinking like he was trying to get his mojo back or something.
It might have been.
But yeah, that song is catchy as all fucking
Broke my
get
heart.
out.
Broke my heart. He's a huge favorite according to the odds makers, understandably so. Harry Hunsucker, to his credit, he's saying all the right things. I think it's still a tough fight for Harry Hunsucker, but you know, he came in and was like, it's kind of a funny little scrum. He came in and was just like, you know, listen, I know what everybody's saying. I know what everybody's doing. I know what everybody thinks, but like I enjoy that space. I enjoy that role.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was funny. He's like, you know, you think I'm not used to people talking shit about me? He's like, my name is Harry Hunsucker. He was like,
I've been catching shit since I was a kid.
I was like, oh, that was pretty funny. I will say this. No, I won't say it. I'll tell you later about it. No, I'll say it. I think Mark Raimondi messed up when he was like, what's the funniest joke somebody's ever said about your name? Like, you want me to sit here and tell you like some shit somebody's talked about me? Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I was like,
I mean, I could see where he was trying to get a nice bite, like, because if he would have bit on it and was like, yeah, you know, they used to call me cocksucker or something. But I, you know, once it kind of fell flat, then I was like, okay. I mean, he shot his load. He tried.
And I'm not picking on Mark. I know Mark's catching some strays.
He's catching
this week.
some shit lately.
He's catching some strays. I'm not trying to pick on him, but I did think I was like, man, you know, like,
jeez, you're like Kevin Iole over here.
No, like, trust me, dude. And you know what? In fairness, I'm sure Mark has probably had to deal with his shit of online abuse as well. But like, I've seen him. I mean, people say dumb shit all the time. Like, I don't want you to come to me and be like, hey, tell me the best thing that somebody's talked shit about you for. Like,
but at least he brought it up. He brought it up first. It'd be one thing if somebody unsolicited was like, "Bro, your name's kind of funny. What's the worst thing you were ever called as a kid?"
True. Okay, yeah.
You know,
maybe
he brought it up first, and I think Mark was just following up, hoping that he would get a funny little bit, you know, but he wasn't ready to bite.
Like, bro, I'm not about to give you ammunition that somebody going to use.
But it was kind of fun that he was like, "Oh, I can't tell you the worst." So I mean, it was a little bit funny, but then you know, Mark was like, "Well, what was the second bit?" And that was the part was like, "Okay,
let it go.
He's not getting it. Let it go."
By the way, skipped over and should mention, it was just because I was looking at my notes, but the bout order did change. Wu Yunan versus Lucy Pudilova. Although I know her name has changed, I can't remember what when she was first in the UFC, we called her Pudilova, and now it's Pudilova or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to get it. I should
Sorry,
that.
Lucy. It's still Pudilova.
It's still Pudilova in my head. Like, it's in my brain. Like, yeah, sorry. It was Thiago Alves for me for like 10 years, so it took me a while to get Alves. Once you're in my brain a certain way, it's in that way. But I will
you'd have to take a bunch of mushrooms to rewire the brain.
Rewire them.
Set the new neural
I guess
path.
if that's what it takes. No.
Hey, Luke. What you doing?
Hook me up. I will say
awake?
this. So it's funny, right? This is one of those ones where, and I probably shouldn't question anybody because, you know, I was talking last week about, you know, the two newcomers, the two Yasmins that were on the main card, and they obviously delivered. And I do understand stylistically, these two girls can scrap, dude. Like, they don't necessarily have the best record in the UFC, but they throw down. So I do expect for it to be an absolute barn burner. But I don't know. It's weird because you ended up taking Marcin Tybura and Alexander Romanov off the main card, and those are ranked heavyweights. And I don't see stylistically Tybura and Romanov being boring. I think. I mean, I know heavyweights sometimes can be a little bit, but
Yeah.
And again, maybe they expect it to be exciting. That's why they have it on ABC and ESPN, and they're trying to get that buy into the, you're trying to get that last little bit of fireworks so that people say, yeah, I'll spend the $60 on the pay-per-view. But I feel like you could have accomplished that with Yanan and Lucy as well. So I don't know. It's like I understand. And it's funny because I'm not one of these people that spends a lot of time discussing card placement because, again, there's a whole bunch of stuff that people don't think about that goes into it.
Yeah.
But it just seemed weird to me to take off ranked heavyweights off of a pay-per-view and put this fight on, although I do anticipate it to be a scrap. So,
Yeah.
interesting fight there. Leonardo Santos, Jared Gooden. Leo, man, I love Leo. Just, the old-school grappling legend still going at it, loves MMA. Jared Gordon, obviously, always repping his cause, man, which I can respect that. He's talking about the fact that he wants to fight at Madison Square Garden later this year. He's like, my grandfather fought there. He's like, I used to shoot dope out there. I was like, I love it, man. And for anybody who knows, it's not that he's condoning shooting dope. It's that he's condoning that he wants people to understand that, addiction can be beaten. So, big one there. Sean Woodson versus Luis Saldana. I spoke to Sean Woodson ahead of the fight, and he's funny, man. Sean's like, and I loved his quote. He's like, I'm the easiest dude to game plan for. I'm the toughest to execute for. He's like, you know what I'm going to do. You know what my game plan is. I ain't even trying to hide it. Like, I'm coming out. I'm just going to jab you up. I'm going to box you. Like, try to stop it. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. Miranda Maverick, Shanna Young. Look, I think it should be a fun fight. I mean, it's funny because everybody seems to complain about the fight night cards, which, by the way, have been delivering a lot lately. But the good thing is, if you do believe that the fight night's a little thin, it usually means that's because the pay-per-view cards, they're stacking them deep. So looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Anything that stands out to you on the card that, out of those, the early prelims or the late prelims or anything that you're most
Richie Lang's always good.
Yeah.
That Jay Perrin, I think that fight's going to be really good. But also, the very first one, Victor Altamirano and Daniel De Silva, I think that could be a good one.
Yep. Albazi and Figueredo. You got the champ's brother
right?
there against Albazi.
This really is. Yes, when it gets to the front of the card, there's maybe not a lot of the names that everybody's like, oh, I have to watch this. But when you look at the people that are there, the people that obviously listen to this know who these people are. It's going to be a good night. I hope I didn't because it should be a really good fucking night.
And I know what you're looking forward to now is getting this edited and getting some sleep since you're on about 24
hours. Well, no, first I want maybe some ramen or something.
Some ramen?
And then sleep will be later because now it's at the point, if I fell asleep now, I'd be ruined. I'd wake up in the middle of the night. But I figure get this edited, get some din-din, and then sleep.
Couple frosty beverages?
Perhaps.
All right, now he's in the game. We drug him out.
I got things to do. I got peoples to call, things to do.
Oh, okay.
Things are happening behind the scenes.
Oh, we'll have to talk about it over a frosty beverage
later on. Yes, not for the air yet.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. All right, listen. If you want to help us out, man, please do us a favor, rate us, review us. Make sure you're logged in. All that stuff helps. And of course, if you want to take it to the next level, Patreon.com/.
Yes, I'm going right now because we have somebody we have to say hello and welcome to.
We get a welcome? I appreciate that. Patreon.com/MMA Roadshow. As little as $3 a month, you can help support the show. We'll give you exclusive access to the and a half episode where we recap the fights each and every week. There's a UFC event, which is damn near each and every week.
Yes, like Sterling McBride just did. Welcome to the family, Sterling. I sent him a message. John's been very busy traveling the world, doing commentary, doing this, spending time with his kid. So I know I sent a message, but I want to make sure that we said it on the show as well. So thank you, Sterling, for jumping aboard. And obviously everybody that's been a long time patron, you guys are fucking rock stars.
Yeah, life is, I'm not going to lie, Cold Coffee is the one handling the community business at this point because it's been a little tough. But we're getting there. We're making progress over at mixedmartialarts.com. We got some things in play, and hopefully we'll have some news as we continue to move things forward. So, all right, listen, we're going to get this thing edited. We're going to go cruise the mean streets of Salt Lake City.
Before everything closes down in 3 hours.
By the way, it's so funny. You don't come to Salt Lake City very often.
There's a reason for that.
But, landed last night, flew, and I was like, man, I kind of forgot how pretty it is up here with all the mountains and everything.
It is beautiful with all the mountains around.
Man, I was like, I need to bring, my family up here, let them check out Salt Lake City. It's absolutely gorgeous, And I was like, all right, check into my hotel. I'm like, where's a place I can pick up some beer so I can have a couple frosty beverages for the room. And dude, it was like 9 o'clock and everything was closed except for one place was open till 10. Luckily, it was only like a mile away, so I walked to there a mile away. And I walk in and I'm like, where are the coolers? There's no coolers. I got to buy my beverages warm? Like, what kind of hell on earth is this, man? So I picked up my warm beer, brought it back to my room, and then all those ideas of I need to come back to Salt Lake City turned into like, when's my flight out of here? Like,
straight out the window. Thanks, Salt Lake City. We'll see you later.
Let's get these liquor laws changed. So in the meantime, thanks for listening.